The 10 fastest planes in the world. We've talked about the biggest, the smallest, the most produced, and the most affordable planes. Now it's time to talk about the fastest plane in the world. For this post, we've put together a list of the 10 fastest aircraft, plus details on a highly anticipated 11th. Do you think you know which supersonic plane broke the speed record? Let's find out. General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark fighter aircraft. The United States Air Force used the Aardvark all-weather interdiction aircraft from the 1960s until 1998. The General Dynamics F-111 Aardvark was a supersonic tactical fighter bomber, nicknamed PIG. The F-111 could be equipped with a bomb payload, a nuclear bomb, or air-to-air missiles. A machine gun was also an optional add-on, although rarely used. Give this precision U.S. Air Force fighter plane a place of honor in your collection of military aircraft models. You can enjoy fighter aircraft that can be a great addition to your home with a 1/48th scale F-111 Aardvark mahogany model. Mach speed, Mach 2.5. 2. McDonnell Douglas F-15 Agila. The McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle is a twin-engine air superiority fighter aircraft of the United States Air Force that was designed as a response to the introduction of the Soviet MiG-25 interceptor. The Eagle first flew in 1972 and is still considered a formidable military aircraft. Due to its continued success, multiple variants of the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle were built, including single- and two-seat versions, as well as Japanese and South Korean derivative models. The F-15EX Eagle II is the most recent addition to the F-15 line, and this new Air Force fighter can carry nearly 30,000 pounds of air-to-ground and air-to-air missiles. Add some high-powered air superiority to your keys with a solid pewter. Mach speed, Mach 2.5. 3. Mikoyan MiG-31 Foxhound. The Russian MiG-31 Foxhound interceptor debuted in 1975 as a replacement for the Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25 Foxbat. The MiG-25 could not fly at low altitude and carried fewer surface-to-air missiles, while the more maneuverable Foxhound was the first Soviet fighter with look-down-and-shoot capability. Although the MiG-35 was not an upgrade of the MiG-25, it is interesting to note that the Mikoyan-Gurevich MiG-25 Foxbat had a higher top speed. The MiG-31 was so successful that these fighter aircraft are still in use today. Since the Foxhound was never exported, only the Russian Air Force has access to the MiG-31. Mach speed, Mach 2.83. 4. North American Valkyrie XP70. The XP70 Valkyrie supersonic strategic bomber debuted in 1964 as an intended replacement for the B-52 Stratofortress. The Valkyrie's 6 engines generated the high speeds necessary to evade Soviet interceptors and escape the blast of the nuclear bombs the Valkyrie was designed to deliver. Unfortunately, the XP70 was not optimized to evade the type of surface-to-air missiles that were developed shortly after the Valkyrie's debut. The Valkyrie design also suffered from hydraulic leaks, fuel leaks, landing gear problems, and weaknesses in its honeycomb construction. The program was eventually cancelled and only 2 Valkyrie aircraft were built. There may only have been 2 full-size XP70s produced, but you can take home a Mach speed, Mach 3.02. 5. Bell X-2 Star Hunter. The Bell X-2 Starbuster was an early swept-wing rocket aircraft whose development began in the mid-1940s. Its purpose was to assist the United States Air Force and the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, NACA, in investigating the stability, control effectiveness, and structural effects of aerodynamic heating at high speeds and altitudes. A modified Boeing B-50A bomber would carry the X-2 to its launch altitude, where it would splash down and fly under its own power. Numerous successful gliding flights were made, and the first powered flight took place in 1955. Unfortunately, the following year, Air Force test pilot Captain Milburn APT lost control of the experimental fighter when it unexpectedly entered a sharp turn after a successful test flight at speeds in excess of Mach 3. APT bailed out, but did not survive the high-speed landing. His death led to the unfortunate demise of the X-2 program. Mach speed, Mach 3196. 6. Mikoyan MiG-25 Foxbat. The MiG-25 was the Soviet Union's response to the need for a supersonic interceptor and reconnaissance aircraft fast enough to intercept American fighter aircraft such as the Lockheed State Route 71. The final design excelled at high-speed, high-altitude flight and had a steep rate of climb, but was less agile and maneuverable, especially at low speed. The MiG-25, which debuted in 1964, remains one of the fastest military fighter aircraft ever built, and a few remain in use in Russia. A variant, the MiG-29 Fulcrum, maximum speed Mach 2.25, has also been used to carry paying space tourists up to 22 kilometers above Earth Viaduct, Russia's Edge of Space flight program. Mach speed, Mach 3.2. 7. Lockheed YF12. Only 3 prototypes of Lockheed's YF12 two-seat interceptor aircraft ever took to the skies, but this model still holds the record for the largest, heaviest, and fastest manned interceptor ever flown. The YF12 was the two-seat version of the Lockheed YF12 Oxcart and was similar in design to its relative the State Route 71 Blackbird, except that the YF12 carried an armament of 3 air-to-air missiles while the Blackbird was unarmed. Although the YF12 was tested by both the Air Force and NASA, the interceptor never flew on any military missions. Instead, it provided NASA researchers with valuable data on the aerodynamic, structural, and thermal impacts of sustained high-altitude flight on aircraft. The information gained from the project was useful in designing the aircraft used by the original space program. Add the YF12 to your model airplane collection with our mahogany or resin State Route 71 Blackbird models. You can even help your favorite young collector get started with the Mach speed, Mach 3.2. 8. Lockheed State Route 71 Blackbird. One of Lockheed's most famous designs is the State Route 71 Blackbird reconnaissance aircraft, used by the United States Air Force. First built in 1964, the Blackbird was based on the designs of its predecessor, the YF12 Oxcart. The Lockheed State Route 71 Blackbird was nicknamed Blackbird for the special heat-dissipating black paint that covered its titanium alloy fuselage. Unlike the YF12, the State Route 71 carried no weapons, having been built solely for speed and ultra-high altitude observation. The State Route 71 still holds the world record for the fastest and highest flying manned aircraft, as well as the fastest round-trip flight within the United States. A Blackbird flew from Los Angeles, California, to Washington, D.C., in just 64 minutes and 20 seconds. Mach speed, Mach 3.33. 9. Lockheed YF12 Oxcart. Lockheed's YF12 Oxcart, built for the CIA, bears a striking similarity to the State Route 71 used by the U.S. Air Force. The family resemblance makes sense, as the State Route 71 Blackbird was a derivative of the Oxcart and both aircraft were used for reconnaissance. Although the State Route 71 holds the official speed record for a manned aircraft, Lockheed and the CIA agree that the YF12 had a slightly higher documented speed. The Oxcart was developed between 1959 and 1965 as a successor to the ultra-fast, high-altitude U-2 spy plane used to monitor activities in the Soviet Union. The YF12 was a stealth aircraft with a distinctive black iron-infused paint scheme and an exterior design that minimized its radar cross-section. Radar-absorbent polymer composite materials made of iron ferrite, silicon laminate, and asbestos further absorbed and confused radar returns. Despite the significant investment of time and money in the project, President Johnson discontinued the YF12 program in 1968 after only 1 year of active use and only 1 reconnaissance mission flown. The anti-aircraft missile-proof Corona satellites were already available to perform image capture missions without risk to the lives of American pilots, although the quality of the images was not that good. In addition, the State Route 71 spin-off program for the Air Force was underway, so it simply did not make sense to continue with the similar YF12. Mach speed, Mach 3.35. 10. North American X15. The State Route 71 holds the official world record for the fastest powered aircraft, but the rocket-powered North American X15 became the world's fastest manned aircraft in 1967. The American X15 program was launched in 1959 and was designed to aid in research into manned hypersonic flight before and during the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo spaceflight programs. In fact, Chuck Yeager taught Neil Armstrong how to fly the X-15 to the edge of space. The X-15 was seen as a bridge between manned flight within Earth's atmosphere and the new world of manned spaceflight. Although it was the first winged aircraft to fly at speeds of Mach 4, 5, and 6, the X-15 did not take off on its own, but was instead air-launched by a modified B-52 Stratofortress. The X-15 could fly at extreme altitudes, and in 1963 a NASA test pilot flew the X-15 beyond the Kármán line, which officially marks the limits of the Earth's atmosphere. X-15 pilots had to wear specialized full-pressure suits while in the cockpit as an extra layer of protection in case the cockpit lost atmosphere while at near-space altitudes. Hang a piece of aviation history on your wall in the form of the modern with neutral colors to accent any room. Mach speed, Mach 6.7. Denver-based, with Chief Test Pilot Tristan Geppetto Brandenburg at the controls, hit Mach 1.122, or 750 miles per hour, at an altitude of about 35,000 feet. Brandenburg brought the plane to a successful landing at the end of the approximately 34-minute flight. Founder and CEO Blake Scholl described the flight as phenomenal. "We're ready to scale up. We're ready to build the passenger supersonic jet that will pick up where Concorde left off and ultimately allow the rest of us to fly supersonic," Scholl said.